to step up, to be a leader. They weren't asking me to be the leading scorer, the leading rebounder. They wanted me to just be a leader and come and play my game. And that's what I'm proud about, the opportunity that they gave me, because for 2 years, Elvin Hayes and I were the best forward combination in the league. And I can truthfully say I was the premier small forward in the league for those 2 years, bar none. And that's quite a step out of my comfort zone for me to just say that, because there were quite a few other great forwards in the league. Doc, Walter Davis, John Drew, Jamal Wilkes.
We had him on.
And so, another UCLA guy. But I was at the top of my game at that particular time.
Sure were.
And Washington just gave me the opportunity to show everything I learned from the Big O and Kareem about when
those guys.
Huh?
Must have been great playing with those guys.
Oh, it was great, and the challenge was, where do I
fit in?
Where do I fit in? Where can I slip through the cracks and still average me 18 or 19 points a game? And I was able to do that, partially because of the Big O. He wanted to lead us as a young group. And one of my favorite stories is that I used to get to the airport early when your brother Spino, Tony, would have all the boarding passes.
Right. He was traveling secretary too.
And he was the traveling secretary.
Right.
Mainly I wanted to get the per diem, not the but anyway, it was my responsibility to get Oscar and I sitting together on the plane. And he always made me sit by the window, and he sat on the aisle.
He was afraid to look out the window.
And when I was in a jovial mood, I would sit on the aisle first, and he would just stand there until takeoff, and then I would eventually move over.
That's funny.
But probably gave you a look too.
Yeah. Oh.
He got the look.
He gave me the Big O look, which is well known throughout sports.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Oh man. So what's your take on the current state of the Washington franchise? I mean, the Wizards now, but you think there's a promise for them?
I think they got a big issue with, Beal and Westbrook become free agents at the same time.
Well, yeah. They could lose them both.
Yeah. They could lose them both, but I think the guy, I'm trying to think of the young forward that they got, the Japanese African-American kid. He was the number 1 draft choice 2 years ago.
Not John Wall.
No.
Not Beal.
It's H-I-R. I can't think of it.
Hachimura. Hachimura from
Hachimura.
He played for Gonzaga, I think. Rui Hachimura. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. Oh, he's a good player. He is really a good player. If they could keep him And I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep Bill, and I don't know if they would want to keep Bill and Westbrook
Right.
anyway, especially at Westbrook's salary. But I'm a fan now. I don't make any any decision.
That's right. Are you involved with the Bucks at all, or does somebody? I think Tony said your daughter's involved with the Bucks.
Well, my daughter worked for the Bucks for about 4 years, but then she wanted to go to New York, so she worked in New York. So now she's trying to get a job somewhere in sport
Okay.
in New York. She's 28 years old. They still living their lives, but I do maybe about 9 or 10 appearances a year with the Bucks, and then with the Washington Wizards, I'm executive director of what we have, the Bullets Wizards Alumni Association. So we have about 70, a membership of about 70 guys, former players and coaches who have been affiliated with the Bullets and the Wizards. So I locate the guys, we bring them in for appearances and various events that we have. And, it's a big part of the programming now for the organization. Anytime you can bring back former players that the crowd love, and we can do all types of promotional events with them. So I've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years. So I found a way to, stay in the loop, stay in the league, and to stay around a sport that I truly love.
Now, do a lot of players do that? Is that a common thing where former NBA players stay in touch with the league and the teams?
Well, if they can, because as a player, it's a whole different world when you have to leave sports and go to what I realize is the real world. And a couple of years, maybe about 15 years ago, I heard Isaiah Thomas say when he dies, make sure you have a basketball in the coffin with him.
That sounds like him.
This game has treated him so well, and I don't say the same thing, but if you can stay around an occupation that you love, you have a passion for, then the ones of us that have this opportunity are truly blessed. And I know that, it's a blessing for me that the team still, consider me a part of their family, although ownerships have changed. New ownership in Washington with Ted Leonis, and in Milwaukee with Wes Eden, Mark Lazary, Jamie Dimon. They embrace the former players coming back, and it's just a relaxing, and every team does not do that. So I consider myself fortunate to have played for the Washington organization and also for the Milwaukee organization.
Well, that's great. I mean, and you're right. It's a blessing to play in the league. There's no doubt about it. We all wanted to at one time when we were kids.
Yeah, and even with your brother Tony, I mean, we haven't been in the same physical place for the last 25 years, but we connect, and I was special friends with Ann Myers, Dave's sister.
Right.
And Tony, your brother, and Dave loved each other. I
know. Hey, they were at UCLA together, and with the Bucks together. So
yeah.
And the first night I ever went there, I guess it was 75. after I met you guys for the first time, and I'm walking around, I'm all like, wow, this is great. We actually went to dinner at Dave's actual house, and
Okay.
and Linda actually cooked for us, and it was pretty amazing. I'm like, I can't believe I'm eating at a player's house. I was a kid, but they were, you guys were, and I asked Tony all the time on the phone. I go, hey, how's everybody doing? He goes, oh, I talked to Bob, I talked to Ken,
Yeah.
yeah.
And people are amazed that that players around the country. I got a call the other day from Brian Winters.
Brian, right? We're gonna try to get Brian on, by the way.
And I tell people to this day, Brian Winters is the best shooting guard I ever played with in 13 years in the league. And one night in Milwaukee, he had 48 points, and Pistol Pete had 47.
Nice.
And in the fourth quarter, both teams really just set screens for those two just to see the shootout.
Right.
Just to see the shootout.
Right.
Man, so.
Oh yeah. And I always thought, what was Anthony or Tony? Like we call him Anthony at home, but what was Tony like as a trainer? Was he good?
Yeah. He came with this. He was up to date on technology, on medicine.
That's right. He still is.
On therapy and procedure. And, guys from the West Coast were the first players to stretch. Kareem was the first player I'd ever in my life seen stretch before a game. I mean, guys back east, we just walked on the floor and played.
Right.
But it was something about that California athlete that was different in terms of preparation. The stretching, just the massages, and
did all that.
For an example, Paul Westphal was the first guy that I really saw use his left hand. I mean, guys from the East were just right-handed, but Paul came in shooting left-hand layups, shooting short left-hand bank shots, and even dunking with his left hand. So, but Tony was real serious, though, because he's sensitive. We used to joke.
I know.
And Tony feelings would get hurt.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Sounds like my brother. Like my brother. But he was good at what he did.
Oh yeah. Oh. He was more than qualified. He was more than qualified.
So what would you impart upon the current crop of budding stars in the NBA and the college stars? What do you have to say to the generation of basketball players right now?
I mean, to know their history of their predecessors and why they have the opportunity, the facilities, and the amenities that they have. And it was because of a guy like Oscar Robertson, who went through the free agency thing, took that to court.
Right.
Spencer Haywood, who was the first guy not to have to complete 4 years of college. The hardship thing that has filtered down to now guys can come out, they can come out as high school players. They may not have to go to school in another couple of years.
Right. In junior graduating high school in October, they're playing in the NBA.
Yeah. And to know to know the history of this game. And just like I was with when I was up at the Hall of Fame about a month ago, Paul Pierce, California guy,
Yes.
asked me, how did y'all play in those Converse tennis shoes?
Oh man.
I said, we played in those Converse tennis shoes so you can wear Air Jordan.
That's right. You don't play in them, you don't play in the other.
And I told him, those same shoes you wearing now, 5 years from now, the kids gonna be laughing at those.
That's exactly right.
So you know, and I can't blame a kid for having aspirations of being a pro athlete, because it's a wonderful life just with the people that you meet along the way and the competition that you face. So you know, those are the basic things, and the hard work that goes into it. All it does is builds character for later in life.
Sure.
Now,
No,
when you were playing in the NBA, starring in the NBA, did you recognize, appreciate the moment for what it was, or were you just living the moment?
You know, I appreciated the moment because I was in a high school system that was segregated. Black schools didn't play against the white schools. I went to a historically Black university in Norfolk State, and we only played against other historically Black universities. And when I got to the NBA, it was like, wow, I'm here. And I cherished the moment. And, you know, they didn't have to tell me about resting and taking care of your body, because at that small forward spot, I could go into LA and I may have Elgin Baylor, Jim McMillan come down to Golden State. I got Rick Barry. Go to Phoenix, I got Connie Hawkins. I come back up through New York, I got Bill Bradley and I got Havlicek. So it was no rest for the weary.
right.
And it was a challenge to play back-to-back games. You know, I mean, you wanted, you know, if you went on the road for 6 days, you're going to play 3 games for sure. And that was the challenge and the excitement of playing in the league, that every night you got an opportunity to test yourself against a guy that was all pro. Most of them that I named went into the Hall of Fame. So it was really fun. It was fun. You know, it was just pure fun.
The whole time was fun, and I think people don't know that today. It was a good time, and everybody was, cool with each other, and it was great to be. I know. I mean, I'm on the outside looking in, but I got to see a lot because of Tony, and I had fun just going whenever I went. You know, I did. I mean, it was something. And when you're a kid, that's something special. It's like, wow,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
big deal. It's a really big deal.
So Bob, anything else to share with the audience?
Yeah, I want to apologize to the audience because
I'm trying to get to see the game. Y'all gonna let me see the game?
Oh, we're sorry, Bob. I actually want to apologize to everybody. I actually lost my phone. I brought it up to a restaurant pretty far away, and that's why I couldn't get back to you. I got to go back tomorrow, drive up there again and get it. So,
well, that's okay. We got it done.
Well, Bob, we got it done. Now, Bob, go enjoy that game, and we really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much for coming.
Nice being on with you guys, and I wish you the best.
Oh, and thank you for coming on.
Okay.
Thanks again. Stay peaceful.
Good night.
Bye now.
Yeah.